All right, and we are back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another post-match show. With as always, with Chris, myself, and as always, I am joined with my co-host Irish Tommy. How you doing, mate?
Pissed off, to be honest. Very unhappy. Um, I, I'm stunned, really. I was stunned at 1:15 our time this afternoon when the team sheet came out, and could not believe what I was seeing. I had to go back and double check the fixtures
Yeah,
because I thought maybe we weren't at home to Brighton, and maybe we were, away at Barcelona.
morning, Wally. Yeah, I mean, as far as team selections go, that's probably up there. I mean, I was trying to explain it to some friends of mine. It just doesn't make too much sense to me that we go so attacking versus Chelsea when typically you would go more defensive against a team like that, and then against a team like Brighton, we're like, all right, we're going to play very conservative, very cautious, and throw five at the back and just allow them the all possession.
It was just completely ridiculous. Like, there's a part of me that would like to hear David Moyes' explanation for it, but I don't think it really matters because I'm quite sure whatever that explanation was would be equally baffling to me. I mean, even the coaches around him, you have to wonder, was there anybody there who thought, David, we're at home to Brighton today, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not very good, David. They're struggling. We have better players all over the pitch. It's like, what are you doing? It's like to have this five at the back, and then you've got Souček and Rice sitting in front, and then you put Noble in there. I don't care if you say he was in at number 10. He's useless there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so defensive and so negative. I think we were all shocked. I think you'd go a long way to find a West Ham fan who would have set the team up like that today.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
I mean, just baffling.
I did like to see Ben Johnson get the start. And obviously, fair play to him. Congratulations to him on his first career Premier League goal, not just for the club, but Premier League in general. But the decision again to start Mark Noble is so shocking when you have Manuel Lanzini, who then comes on in the second half and has a good performance and gets an assist. I mean, if he was playing the entire time, he could have provided the difference maker. And then on top of that, too, the decision to constantly keep Said Benrahma on the bench. And just everything is baffling.
It is. It's just a bizarre decision that makes no sense on any level. It's like, imagine thinking, right, lads, who are we going to put at number 10? And then you look around, you go, there's Lanzini. No. Got Fornals there. No. Benrahma could play him 10. No. Noble. I'll play Noble there, of course. It's so obvious now. It's like,
we need the David Moyes masterclass meme for that, because that's what he thinks his masterclass is.
Just the way he set up was bordering on throwing the game. It was just, I'll never understand it.
And then
the way Moyes thinks, I guess, he's incredibly negative.
Yeah, and then with the substitutions as well, and we're all getting kind of ahead of ourselves. We have so much to talk about in this one. But with the substitutions, first of all, after we get the equalizer to go 2-2, he sits Said Benrahma back down. So rather than going for it like we probably should have, Moyes says, all right, I'll settle for a point, which made
that's David Moyes all over.
Yeah, and then
I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, look, the first half was no surprise to anyone. I mean, it was absolutely terrible. That's some of the worst I've ever seen us. And it was entirely predictable, given the lineup. That I think We had something like 30-odd% of the possession first half at home to Brighton. That's unforgivable.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's happening, you've made a major fuck up somewhere.
Yeah, very, very much so.
And we all know where. You know, we're not going to need any great detectives to figure this one out.
No,
You know,
no.
it's the lineup was completely wrong. It was negative. We played exactly the way he set the team up to play. What else would you expect? I mean, not only did we had. I mean, I remember watching at one point midway through the first half. They had the ball in our half, and we had 10 men behind the ball. Even Bowen, the only two attacking players we even had on the pitch, Bowen and Haller, were behind the ball in front of our box, 10 yards in front of our box. And I'm thinking, like, well, what the fuck is this? I mean, we don't have enough already. We don't have enough. With the back five and Socek and Rice there, that's not enough to defend against fucking Brighton. We need Haller and Bowen back there. 10
Yeah.
men behind the ball against these amazing players that Brighton are coming at us with. Absolutely ridiculous.
This is funny. I like this comment. We need we need to get that Lewandowski lad into the team. If we
Moyes won't play him.
no, that is true. That is very true.
If Antonio's fit, Lewandowski won't get a look in.
Yeah. And then on top of that too, he's looking at bringing Marko Arnautovic, who's been busy doing nothing in China for the past 2 years, to come in. So
yeah, who's now over the hill.
I mean, he wasn't necessarily still on the upswing when he was ended our stint with us, let alone 2 years now out in China and talking about how he is not kept himself in shape.
Yeah, I mean, apart from, fuck him because of the way he acted, which was disgraceful, by the way. I wouldn't have him back regardless of ability just for that. But even that aside, if he did come back, we're not getting back the same player that left 2 years earlier. We're just not. He's not going to be as good. He's not going to have the same impact. He's coming towards the end of his career.
And yeah, to Danny's point here, Allaire again, just he was a passenger in this match. I feel he disappeared for long stretches. I didn't notice him on the pitch. I didn't hear his name. I just don't think. I think I've finally decided he's not for us. He's just not. There's nothing we can do about it. He might be a great player if he goes somewhere else. He does not fit this team, this style.
No, I think a lot of us have, even fans of Heller, I think, know at this point that he's not going to work for this team under Moyes in this system.
Yeah,
it's not set up for him to thrive. Like I say, he may go somewhere else in a system that's perfect for him and be fantastic, because I don't doubt his ability, but he's done at West Ham, I think. Even listening to what Moyes has been saying, it's obvious, he's done. So, yeah I think as Matthew was saying there, I think they're looking at this Seema guy.
David, that's funny as hell.
Jesus, David. Yeah, so look, I mean, David Moyes just got it all wrong. And frankly, I think he got it all wrong in an unforgivable way.
Yeah.
There's times when a manager can get it wrong, but you kind of can see what they're trying to do, but it just doesn't work. Today, I have no idea what the hell Moyes was thinking. I mean, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he was putting out a team that he felt could win the game. But how that process got from what team can I put out to win this game to that team taking the field, whatever happened in between is a mystery to me.
This is exactly what my opinion is on Allaire too, by the way, with Danny. West Ham should not have to accommodate to him. He should come in and accommodate to us. He's worth 45 million pounds, supposedly. He should be able to adapt into a system where he can get goals. It shouldn't have to be that we have to provide him everything and anything and everything. He needs to do some of the work himself.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't disagree with Danny there. I certainly would not switch up our entire system and way of playing just to accommodate Haller. The problem, Danny, I think, is that he can't. He doesn't have the attributes that are required in our system. He can't do what we need him to do. He just literally cannot do it. So there's no point saying he needs to adjust. If you're asking him to do something he cannot do, you're flogging a dead horse. I think you just cut your losses and move him on.
Yeah, it's the same way with Anderson, which, by the way, I mean, it's crazy to think Felipe Anderson is still a West Ham player.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's having a horrible time in Porto.
He's having this time than Alera. He's not getting any starts.
Yeah, but that'll just tell you, that West Ham were not the problem here, and that you and I were right, Chris, that Felipe Anderson in here is the problem. Nothing wrong with his feet, his ability, but I don't know what the hell goes on in Anderson's head, but he needs to straighten himself out, because if he could go anywhere and have a successful loan spell, you would think it would be somewhere like Porto, where he speaks the same language. There's other Brazilians there. Culturally, a lot of similarities, and the football is not as physical as the Premier League, not as fast, not as intense. You would have thought he'd go there and could have a really, really good season for them and get his career back on track. But whatever's wrong with him, it looks like we're going to be getting him back whether we like it or not. Yeah. And we may be actually stuck with him, because given how we fell out of favour at West Ham and given now what's happened at Porto, who in the hell do you sell him to?
Yeah. Sorry, my cat's making an appearance. He was clawing at the door. Everyone was diving. But yeah, I mean,
yeah. Look, even I know you don't have the Sky covers, but even Gary Neville.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of tweets.
Couldn't believe how Moyes set up for this game, and he was essentially saying the same thing we were saying on Twitter, which was West Ham have set up so negatively. So they've set up, he said, with all due respect to Brighton, he said they've set up like they're playing against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And not against the struggling Brighton team at home. So, even neutrals looked at the team sheet and the way we were set up home to Brighton, were like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, though, yeah, we keep going on about Alera as well. Alera was not the problem. I think everyone was, even to a degree. Declan Rice had a bad match. So, I mean,
I think it starts from Moyes.
Yeah.
It starts from Moyes. What do you think the players thought when they looked at it? Team sheet comes out and they look at it. Even they must have been looking at each other, maybe some whispers like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
This is really negative. Like, we've got no attacking players. We've got Haller, who's a lone striker, and the only attacking player really midfield we've got is Bowen, and he's out on the wing.
Yeah.
Even the players must have looked at it and thought, Jesus Christ, what is this? Yeah. And it just sets the wrong tone. It says to the players, we're setting up here negatively. We're going to sit back deep, lots behind the ball. And that's what we got.
Yeah. Charlie Boy had mentioned earlier in the chat that, and I had missed this. Declan Rice was throwing his arms up in anger at Moyes. So I mean, I think the anger was palpable even on the pitch. I mean, after this, we've won 1 in the last 5. After our promising start, 1 in 5. I mean, it's not a good way to kick on. Granted, it's a point, which I mean, after that first half, I think I would have taken a point. But I mean, there's no excuse. I mean, that's a team we should beat every time. But for some reason, I think that our announcers here threw up a stat that we haven't beat them in the Premier League since like '84.
Yeah, we've had a few games against them now. I think that's the 7th game since they returned to the Premier League. We haven't won one of them. So, but look, we know why we didn't win today. It's as simple as that. It was just completely wrong setup. So I think even at half time with the changes, he got it a bit wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he brought on Yarmolenko for Bowen, which I thought Yarmolenko did well. But why bring Bowen off? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't increase the amount of attacking players we have on the pitch. It's kind of a like for like swap. I thought Bowen, okay, he didn't really do anything as such attacking wise in the first half, but how could he? What did he have to work with? And then obviously the big change was bringing Lanzini on for Noble in the number 10 role, and that did make a big difference.
That made the whole world. I mean, that's what ended up setting
It
up the
is
goal.
essentially that change on its own almost kind of earned us a point. So but that wasn't enough for me. I think he could have been much more proactive at halftime, but he just can't do it. He cannot bring himself to actually go for it in a game and really say, right, let's go and fucking out and win this thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it would have been a very simple thing. For example, what I would have liked to have seen is we revert to a flat back four. Okay? So you've got Kufal, Ogbonna, Balbuena, and Cresswell, right? So Johnson comes off. You bring on Ben Rama for Johnson. You bring on, as he did, Lanzini for Noble. So now you've got your flat back four, you've got Rice and Socek in front, and now you've got Ben Rama, Lanzini, and Bowen in the middle, and then Haller up top. And if he'd have done that, if it had been much more positive, who knows what damage Ben Rama would have done? Who knows what damage Bowen might have done now that he's got some support around him and we've got much more of the ball in their half. We may well have turned the game completely on its head and gone on and won it. But again, he made kind of safer, smaller kind of adjustments.
And I've seen a few comments about how Moyes has said that he needs to rest players for a busy Christmas period. And yes, I know Southampton, who's flying at the moment, is our next match. But I mean, we don't inspire confidence going into a match like that right now. I mean, after
because because that will affect the players.
yeah,
That will affect the players today. They're starting to lose games. They lost the last one to Chelsea, 3-0, and now they've been horrible today for most of that game, and they know it. And they know the formation was all wrong, or certainly the personnel was all wrong. And the confidence that they had a very short time ago now, you worry that they don't feel confident now going to Southampton.
Yeah.
Whereas they should feel like, right, we can go there, we can we can turn these over, we can get something at least, and we can take these guys on. They look like they weren't afraid of anyone. But
yeah.
you wonder, like, if Moyes has kind of chipped away at that with his fucking foolishness.
Yeah. And I mean, so our next two matches then are Southampton on Tuesday and Everton New Year's Day. So, I mean,
Yeah, see, I've seen all this before, Chris. I've seen managers before that.
whoa.
We're gonna rest players for this game. We're gonna rest them. We're gonna rest them because it's let's say usually it's because it's a tougher game. You're playing one of the top teams, and then you have kind of an easier game next, and the manager will kind of say, right, I'm going to rest a few players for this really tough game because probably going to lose it anyway. Keep the key players fresh for the next game, which is more winnable, and then you end up losing both. I've seen it so many times. So if his excuse today is that he was trying to rest certain players for Tuesday against Southampton, he might be in for a rude awakening because Southampton are flying it.
Yeah.
I'd rather he said, look, there's fucking 3 points for the taking today. You have to take them. If this was a gamble on his part, I'm going to put this team out and kind of cross my fingers that Brighton are bad enough that we can still beat them anyway. It was a huge gamble, and it was always likely to backfire, and it did. And it's not a gamble you should be taking. When the 3 points are there for the taking, and they were today against this Brighton team, you have to go and take them. Worry about Southampton on Tuesday.
Yeah. So right now, as we speak, Moyes is in his press conference, and I've pulled up Football London, Sam Ingersoll, updating it live, and he was asked about the poor first half, and he said, Moyes responded, "I would like to put it down to how Brighton played. We maybe never got quite into the right positions to cause them problems. I was hoping to get to halftime to fix it quickly." And yet he still didn't necessarily fix it.
What a fucking idiot. If that's really what he thinks. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, so Brighton were just, played really well. Of course they fucking did. We sat back. We let them attack us time after time. We handed them the initiative.
Yeah.
Of course they played well. You fucking moron. Like, seriously. And what was that last bit you said?
Let me find it again. I was hoping to get to halftime to fix it quickly.
Why? What's magical about halftime? Could have told you fucking 20 minutes in. It was obvious. This is not going to work. It's only a matter of time before they score.
Yeah.
You can make changes anytime, David. Someone needs to tell him that.
I 100% agree with this. Moyes clearly thinks we're idiots with that bullshit.
He has to. He has to think we're all fucking morons. Like, seriously. You don't have to wait till half time to change it. More dinosaur thinking. This is old school shit.
Yeah.
We get to half time. Let's survive to half time. Now, let's keep in mind here, let's remind ourselves, he's talking about trying to survive until half time at home to Brighton.
Yeah, Brighton.
Okay?
So, Brighton.
Like, seriously? I mean, have a fucking word with yourself. Have a word with yourself. Change the fucking thing. Do it after 20 minutes. You're allowed to. It's okay, David. I mean, literally, even if he'd literally just whipped Noble off and put Lanzini on, which isn't much different to what he did at halftime anyway. Yarmolenko and Bowen was a straight swap. So even if he'd just said, fuck it, hook Noble off 20 minutes in and said, this ain't working, mate, get Lanzini in there, that could have changed everything. Or improved it enough that we weren't going 1-0 down.
Here you go. Here's another David Moyes quote for you. He was asked about no creative players. Moyes said, and I quote, "In hindsight, it was not the right decision. I wanted Jared and Seb up front at the start, hoping they'd give us something. We are trying to find a solution to losing Mickey, Antonio, and Artur Masuaku. We are trying to find that. Even Artur, for the balance, as well as Mickey, we are missing them both. If we're reliant on those two players that much, we have a bigger problem than just no creative players."
No, it's horseshit anyway. It's like, in hindsight? Who the fuck needs hindsight to know that? Like, we were all on Twitter. We all saw the lineup and we were like, what in the fucking Christ is this? We knew that it was all wrong and it was trouble. And David Moyes needs hindsight to know that.
Yeah. And then
I'm so fucking disappointed in him. It's like, come on, dude, you've been around long enough. Fucking hell. How is he the only one who doesn't know? Fucking hindsight.
The most knows the least. That's what we have the issue of here. The man who should know the most knows the least.
Hindsight, my fucking arse.
And then the rest of this, by the way, and we should get into this. We can get into this now too. He's been asked 3 times with about VAR. So obviously that the second Brighton goal, a little sketchy. I think it was handball. I mean, it clearly bounces up into his arm. But Moyes is asked 3 times about VAR at least. He says, "I don't think anyone is convinced by the answers that we are getting." Then later, "If they have made a mistake, then I'd like someone to turn around and say it." Same thing to you, David Moyes, by the way. But we are not getting anybody coming out and clarifying it. I don't think we are getting clarity from those involved. We'd like to see what it is to the naked eye, it looks like it hit his arm. And then the final one was, they must have the same angles. Surely, does that sound like them trying to go out of it? It would be ridiculous if they didn't have every angle available to them.
Yeah, it was obviously a handball.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it's basic physics. If the ball comes across from your left and then hits you on the left thigh, and your arm is right there, and then the ball ends up dropping right in front of you at your feet.
It hit your arm.
How did it get there? Because it didn't get there from hitting you on the thigh.
Yeah.
It got there because it went up off your thigh, hit your forearm, and your forearm knocked it down in front of you. I mean, it's basic common sense.
Not only that, too,
we don't need to do a seance and ask Isaac fucking Newton. People in the VAR room, this should be obvious. You see the replays and you say, look how the ball's gone, like right in front of him. There's no way it did not hit his arm. And the rule is, if it hits your arm in directly in the build-up to a goal, it gets chalked off. So I was really surprised when that came back as no handball. And then really surprised.
And then not only the ball coming off of his arm, the way he's also reaching back and grabbing Hilaire's shirt.
Yeah, he's got Hilaire like this. He's like, the whole way in, like holding him off.
If you're checking for a handball, can you not also check that and say, yes, regardless if we think that this is a handball or not, which it was, that's a foul. That's not a goal.
Yeah, well, first we're dealt with the handball, right? So let's say, okay, they're up there saying, well, we're not 100% that it hit the arm. Surely they'd go to the ref and say that. Say, look, we're not sure about the handball, so we'd probably allow it for that. We can't prove you were wrong. But we think you should go have a look at the monitor because he may have fouled Heller as he's going for the ball by pulling on his shirt. And at least let the ref go and look at it and see what he thinks.
Yeah, it's astounding to me that the pitch side monitor has not been utilized more this season. I could probably count on one hand how many times I've seen it, or across the entire league this season it's been used.
Yeah, and there's a weird psychology thing going on with that monitor too, Every single time a ref has been asked to go look at the monitor, they've overturned their own decision. Every single time. Now, there's something psychological going on there. The ref must be thinking, okay, there's referees at Stockley Park watching this on the replays. If they're asking me to look at the monitor, they think I've got it wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So he goes over and he's looking at it already thinking, they think I've got this wrong. So he may feel that if I actually stick with my original decision, my fellow referees at Stockley Park might be looking at it thinking I don't know what I'm doing. So they go to the monitor and they overturn every single time.
Yeah.
Which means if the VAR team had said to him, look, you might want to go look at the possible shirt pull on the monitor, I think it's almost inevitable he would have chalked that goal off.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one. It's just when VAR came into this league, I had talked with a few friends of mine who watch the Premier League as well, and everyone was worried about it at first. The first season obviously was horrendous. The second, but I think this going into the second season is when I first got involved with this channel. And for me, I would say it's got some bugs. I mean, it has some kinks it needs to work out. Not everything is going to work right off the get-go. It needs to be scrapped. VAR needs to. Yeah. I would rather go with referee decisions than VAR because, I mean, at least at that point you can chalk it up to human error, because when you can't chalk it up to human error when they're deliberately making the wrong calls when they have it slow motion in front of them.
Yeah, it's infuriating. Like you say, I mean, these problems should be getting ironed out over time.
They're getting
but it's not getting any better. Every week we're talking about fucking VAR, and it's more than one game. There will be a few different games every week where we'll be talking about VAR. And it's got to stop. I mean, what good is this doing for the game? Absolutely none. And like you, Chris, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm happy to actually go back to human error, where we all accept
Same, yeah.
that
Because
the ref and the officials will make some mistakes. And yes, some of them might be bad mistakes and they might cost your team points. But I'd actually prefer that to what we've got right now.
yeah, because I mean, at that point that it's just on the referees. I mean, now you have a whole different element where where the referees made a mistake. Now we have to depend on the competency of four other individuals in the VAR room.
Yeah, I mean, look, the people in the VAR room are just as useless as the people on the pitch. So just goes to show that even when you give referees replays and lots of different angles, they're still fucking useless. So, it's. I mean, there was one today. I don't know if you saw Leeds Burnley.
And now I had seen some comments on Twitter.
Oh my god! I mean, like seriously.
Oh yes, I saw the clip of it because they ruled it a foul in the build-up before the goal. They couldn't take a look at it.
Yeah, so basically, ball's been pumped into the box by Burnley. Ben Mee has his back to goal. He takes a couple of steps back, jumps up in the air to head it. Meslier, the Leeds keeper, comes flying out and absolutely wallops Ben Mee into the back with his knee. Goes right through him. And now the ball fell to I can't remember who, and he smashed it into the net. But the referee had already blown before the Burnley player finished the ball to the net and gave a free kick against Ben Mee for getting smashed by a keeper. And VAR couldn't revisit it and award a goal because once the referee blows, if the referee hadn't blown and then goal had gone in and then he'd blown for the free kick, VAR could have come back. They could have looked at it and sent him to the monitor, which I believe they would have done, whereby he would have awarded the goal or given a penalty, whatever the situation may be. But it was just. They literally took a goal away from Burnley, which would have earned them a point today, by the way, because it was 1-0. And that was just absolutely horrific officiating. I mean, Ben Mee, absolutely. Go and have a look at it for anyone who hasn't seen it. Ben Mee got taken out by the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper was given a free kick. And it cost Burnley a point and a goal. So even with VAR there, it seems the fucking officials can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, exactly. And really quickly too, you'll get a kick out of this. Moyes' press conference just finished up a few minutes ago. One of the last questions he was asked about was, was he surprised with how Brighton played? He said, Moyes says, and I quote, "I think they have got a style of play which they can hurt you with, and they certainly did with us. We gave them a terrible first goal from our point of view, and then a debatable second one. I think they are a good footballing team, and if they score the goals at the end of their work, they will deserve it."
Yeah, nothing we don't already know, really. Brighton play some nice stuff, but they're toothless. And basically, we gave them absolutely every opportunity, or David Moyes did, gave them every opportunity possible to win that game, and they still couldn't do it. They're a poor team, and they're in real trouble, and I think they'll get relegated. But that's on Moyes today. He can praise them and say they play some nice stuff. Yeah, I don't care. They're not that good, and we should have beaten them today. We've got better players than them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of our better players than they have were sitting on our bench.
Yeah. I'm looking through Graham Potter's comments as well. I want to see. Yeah. Okay, so here's the Premier League's, going back to the VAR statement from the Premier League on the goal. There wasn't any clear and conclusive evidence that the ball had touched Dunk's hands or hand. The VAR looked at a number of angles, but nothing definitively showed it touched his hand. I mean, you literally go over to Sky Sports at the end of the match, and I've seen it on Twitter. They blow it up, and you like zoom all the way in, and you can see it hit off of his rib cage into his arm and then down.
Yeah, it's clear handball. That's just an excuse. I don't see how they can say they couldn't tell.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, good point, Charlie. I think we all agree with that. This was not one of Moyes' finest moments.
This was probably one of his low moments for me. I mean, he set up today how he probably should have against Chelsea, minus Mark Noble. Mark Noble should not be in that squad at all right now. But this is the squad we probably should have gone with against Chelsea, and the Chelsea squad should have been the one that we went with against Brighton. I don't know why it's so hard or how you flip it like that.
It's just his way of thinking. His way of thinking is first and foremost, don't lose the game. So he has that. He's very defensive minded. Whereas with Leeds, it's kind of the opposite, right? So Leeds are set up to be kind of swashbuckling, a bit gung ho. We're going to score goals, and we're going to score more goals than you, and that's how we'll win. And that doesn't work for them. They concede far too many goals. They were lucky to get the win today. VAR handed them. The referee really handed Leeds a 1-0 today.
Well, David Moyes and VAR handed Brighton a point.
So Moyes is kind of the opposite, to how Leeds are set up. So Moyes is the opposite. He thinks that defend first and be solid at the back, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with either philosophy, frankly, if you've got the right players and system to do it. But both teams have gone too far that way. Bielsa goes too far into the open attacking play. They're just too open. But equally, Moyes goes too far the defensive route. We're just too defensive.
Yeah.
And it blunts us. And today, against a team like Brighton, to do that, it's just mind-boggling. It makes no sense on any level. And he's dropped a bollock today, frankly. And I hope he's learned from it. I really do. I hope he's learned that, no, you cannot play Mark Noble. You can't.
That is the big takeaway. That is the big lesson of the past week or so. Mark Noble cannot play in the Premier League anymore. If you want to use him as a substitute at the end of the match to help throw legs, to help shore up a win, if you want to put him in cup matches, that's fine. But Mark Noble is not Premier League quality anymore, and it hurts to say, but it has to be said.
There was times today during the game where I was shaking my head, just kind of laughing to myself. Every time the ball broke, and it was a loose ball, and it was anywhere near Noble, and he'd go to run for it, there was always somebody else got there first. He's so slow, he can't even get to any loose balls anymore.
Some little-known Brighton players are outpacing Mark Noble.
Yeah, there's times there, especially second half, Chris, right, where I noticed where there would be a player and Noble would be like right there, and the player is almost stalled, right? And next thing he just flicks the ball on and goes, and he looks like he's jogging, but he's gone past Noble and he's pulling away from him, and it's ridiculous. He can't be on the pitch anymore. Like you say, unless he's coming in for 10 minutes, and we're up a couple of goals and he's just there to help see the game out. Yeah, we read that earlier, Charlie.
Right before you had joined, we were going through the press.
Have a look back at my reaction to that earlier, Charlie. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know we talked before, and I was all about, he's earned a new contract and we should definitely give him one. But I'll tell you what, days like today,
he's working his way out of it.
They leave me shook. I'm far less convinced now of what I said then. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is not difficult. Like I'm the hope is that Moyes has steadied the ship, and he's done a good job steadying the ship, and it is very steady right now. But I'm concerned now that he may have a complete inability to actually do anything more than he's doing right now.
Yeah.
Because he's just so safe. He's so risk averse. It's incredible. I mean,
now, and this is not to say, for me, I still question it. I'd still question it even if we were to go out and get a win against Southampton. But I mean, if he were to go out and make some changes, Mark Noble not come back or not play, if hopefully we can get Mikel Antonio back by Southampton in 2 days. If we can pull up 3, even 4 points, I'd be okay with against Southampton and Everton, and then we have a 10-day break, and then we have the FA Cup. If we can get some good results in there, that'll make me feel a little bit more confident. But at the moment, one win in 5, I'm not confident at the moment. I'm losing a little bit of confidence, well, not faith, but just I don't. It's worrying right now.
yeah, look, obviously, if we go to St. Mary's on Tuesday and beat Southampton, we'll all feel a hell of a lot better. Because, before these 2 games, if someone said, Brighton and Southampton will take 4 points, we'd have all said, yeah, that's very acceptable. We would assume that it would be we'd win at home to Brighton and we go and get a draw at St. Mary's, and we all would have taken that, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's 2 good results, but the pressure's on now because that team has to go to Southampton now, and it'll be interesting to see how Moyes sets up. I mean, will he set up the same way? Will he be completely negative? I hope not, because we'll have no chance, because Southampton have got some quality, and especially Ward-Prowse, set piece, the free kicks are unbelievable. So yeah, I just want to see Moyes actually. Now, Moyes says in his press conference, Charlie put up the quote there.
Yeah.
That in hindsight it was a mistake, but we'll see what his foresight is like ahead of the Southampton game now.
Yeah, if he really sees that it was an issue, he should learn from it and make changes to it. But so this will be the test. This is like the test for him right now. He knows that he made a mistake. Will he go back to it, or will he change?
I'm going to call it now. He'll make one change only. The formation will be the same. All of the personnel will be the same, except for he'll start Lanzini instead of Noble.
Yeah.
Now, the other possible one is I don't know what the situation is with Antonio. He wasn't on the bench. So I doubt very much if he can start.
I was going to say, Wally said the same thing too. You might not have seen it because it went live during our show at the very beginning of the show. After the match, basically all of the players were back on the pitch doing work, including the substitutes. And Mikel Antonio was suited up and he was getting reps in. So there is hope. I don't know how.
Well, look, there's a difference between, being kind of uninjured, as it were, and being match fit, and he's nowhere near it.
No, imagine he'll get a half.
He cannot start at Southampton. He just can't.
I'll give him the second half.
Yeah, so I'm predicting the one change for the Southampton game will be Lanzini starting in place of Noble. I think that's the only change he'll make.
Yeah, but I mean, I do want to talk. I want to see your point of view on this. I mean, it is a point. At the end of the day, as much as we hate to talk about only getting a point, it was a point. It helps us in the campaign. So, I mean, I think is there any positives that you could see? For me, Lanzini is looking good again. Lanzini looks like he's got his legs about him again. And so I think that that's a massive positive for us.
Yeah, but he looked like that already. He was already doing bits, and every time we saw him recently, Lanzini, he's looked very good. We can go back a few games, even, came on against Tottenham and scored a screamer to get a point for us there. But still can't get on the starting 11, which is ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, to start Noble ahead of him today is mind-blowing. genuinely mind-blowing. I will never understand that. Today, to not start Lanzini ahead of Noble, I mean, when can you fucking start him? Jesus Christ! I mean, if Moyes has learned any lesson, hopefully it's that one. Lanzini's form is good, and he's ready. He's recovering his form, his sharpness. He looks good. So play him. He's a natural number 10. Just put him in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we're trying to put Mark Noble in to a position that he's never really played, while he also has no pace about him.
Yeah, literally, he was a passenger. It's just ridiculous. I'll never understand it. I mean, you shouldn't need hindsight to tell you that. That you should know that ahead of the game. That you can't play. I mean, Noble was lost in the Chelsea game as well.
Yeah.
It's like playing with 10 men. Like, for fuck's sake, it's ridiculous.
And then,
so, hopefully we'll at least see that much against Southampton that Lanzini will start.
Yeah. Some other positives though too. Obviously, Ben Johnson. Again, congratulations, first Premier League goal. He looked decent. Glad to see him get a start. I mean, if we're going to stick in the back five, he should be the left wing back. And then Yarmolenko as well. He looked, for what contributions he had, he looked decent as well.
Yeah, well, Yarmolenko's is like that. He's got really good feet. He's got a bit about him. He does trouble fullbacks. He does cause problems for them, and we saw it again today. And he can put a half decent ball in too, into the box. So, I've always liked Yarmolenko. I know he's not, he's getting older now, and he can't play 90 minutes every week. I know that. I don't think he'd have nearly as much impact in a game starting and playing 90 minutes every week. I don't think he's able for that. But I think certainly we've seen today he can play a half if you need him to play a half, and he can be effective. It's just that, so I like him, but I just don't think we needed necessarily to sacrifice Bowen today.
I agree.
Bowen, like Haller today, really was given no chance. Was given no chance. I mean, Bowen and Haller both spent more time in that first half having to defend in our own half because Moyes' tactics meant that Brighton basically had all of the possession and were able to keep us pinned in our own half for large periods of the game. So what were they supposed to do? So, and again, at half time, I don't think Moyes did enough. I'd have gone 4-2-3-1. I'd have brought on Benrahma and Lanzini and had as I said, Benrahma left, Lanzini number 10, Bowen right, and then Haller up top. And I think if he'd have done that, we may well have gone on and won the game. I think we would have really gotten on top of Brighton and caused them real problems and actually forced them back and forced them to defend in their own half for large periods. But again, it's just too much for Moyes. His brain will explode if you suggest that to him, I think.
Any thoughts on Cresswell's crossing today?
All of it was.
Yeah. I think the whole match was. So, I mean, for me, I think that kind of gets lost in there. Just to say, Richard, I do agree with you. I mean, Cresswell's crosses were substandard. They were definitely below par, not his usual self. I was disappointed with that. I suspect it's because he's playing as an orthodox left back. I think he's much more comfortable playing as a left-sided centre back, and he can actually cross from those deeper positions. I think he prefers that. But Kofel as well, his deliveries, some of them were awful. Those fucking short corners, I'm going to kill someone. I'm going to kill someone. Like, what? We're so dangerous on set pieces, and we've got really good corner routines. Do not ever take them short. It's a waste of time, and it just messes with us. It's a wasted chance.
Just put the fucking ball in the box, direct from the corner. That's how we scored Souček's goal. Just put it in direct. Stop fucking around with these short corners. They're useless.
Yeah.
Unless it's a very well worked routine and everyone knows what's going on, and there's a specific training ground reason why you've taken it short because you're working it a certain way. Maybe I could forgive it if you do it the odd time then, trying to catch your opponents out. But generally, just put the ball in the box and let the guys go and attack it, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, you don't know what when you put it in like that. You don't know what's going to happen. You got your guys could get it their head on it.
Yeah,
It bounce around off a defender and go in. I mean, there's so many variables. I mean, when you put in the short short corner like that, I mean, it just does no good. It's a wasted opportunity.
yeah, it's a complete waste. I don't know why we do it. Thanks, for. I don't know why we do it. Complete waste of time. Just put the ball in because
Yeah,
we're dangerous from those situations, as we saw with the Socek goal. But yeah, the deliveries today were very poor from Kofel and Cresswell. I think Declan Rice really badly overhit one as well, and from a really good position. And yeah, it was just the whole team. I think the way we set up and the way we just handed the initiative to Brighton, it gets into players' heads, and it can be hard to flip the game on its head.
yeah,
It can be hard to snap yourself out of that rhythm. It's so if we just started more positively and actually got after them right from the start with a more attacking team, the whole way the team carried themselves would have been different, and the attitude would have been different. So the whole thing was just a shit show, really, and frankly, despite the VAR thing for Brighton's second goal, I think we can count ourselves quite lucky that Brighton weren't a bit better, particularly
yeah,
up top, and that on another day, really, we ought to have lost that game.
yeah. In reality, looking at it, we should have. I mean, they were by far the better team for the vast majority of the match. Which, I mean, it's funny. The stats actually show that it was it wasn't perfectly even, but West Ham actually still had about 44% possession throughout the entirety of the match, which, I mean, that's impressive because, I mean, in the second half, that means we
Well,
were.
it was the second half we got on top of it because Lanzini and Yarmolenko were doing a good job. We had a bit more of an attacking threat, um, and I think for Brighton, because they were leading at two separate times in that second half, there may have been an element of their players kind of getting a little conservative, thinking about, let's see if we can just hold on to this lead a little bit. So we did get on top second half, but first half we had around 30 or so percent
Yeah,
possession at home to Brighton. That's unforgivable.
I agree. But listen, I mean, we have two matches in the next 6 days. We have Southampton on Tuesday and Everton on Friday. Both of those are away fixtures. And right now, I want to get your honest opinion. How many points do you think we can get out of those two matches?
How many we can get? We're capable of beating both, but we won't. I'm shocked by today. I'm really worried about Moyes and the way he thinks and the way he's setting up. I mean, if he set up that defensively at home to Brighton, what the fuck's he going to do away at Southampton, away at Everton? I feel like he'll hand them the initiative too, and they're much better teams than Brighton. So I actually am really worried now. I think we're going to lose both games, Chris. If I'm honest.
Yeah. I did see someone say earlier that Southampton are going to be without Danny Ings, so that, or they will be at least. That bodes somewhat well in our favor.
It helps a bit, but the Che Adams is just doing well for them. He's scoring goals. He looks confident.
Uh,
He's been a good stand-in for Ings. Obviously, it helps. Ings is class, but Che Adams is still a real threat.
yeah.
And obviously, Ward Prowse it will be the best player on the pitch. Frankly, I mean, just he's incredible, man.
I agree with you that we are able to win both. We have the capability. I genuinely do think that Moyes is going to change it around, make some changes. Whether that's Antonio, if we get him, if it's Noble, I don't know. I think there will be changes, though. I think we're going to get at least 1 point out of the two matches. I don't know which one we'll get.
Yeah, we might defend like our lives depend on it in one of the games and keep them out or something. But I'm not optimistic given that our manager is David Moyes. And
well, that goes to Phil's question: are we Moyes in or out?
I'm still Moyes in. I'm not out. Look, he's made balls of it today. There's no question. He's made a complete balls of it today.
Yeah, two matches don't define. I mean,
yeah, I don't want to be completely reactionary.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But yeah, it's definitely a worry Foe, to be honest. If this continues, if we see kind of a number of games like this where he goes completely negative, I'm going to be verging on Moyes out because it's unacceptable to me
Yeah.
to be that negative. If Moyes is cautious, I can live with it. But to be as negative as he was today, if we start seeing that regularly, that's going to draw my ire in a big way. And I think I probably would be Moyes out by the end of the season if it continued like that. But
I agree. I agree with Foe here that we need a new left back or left wing back, a striker, and for Moyes to grow a pair of cherries.
Yeah,
I agree with him on that. I was just thinking about this. I wonder if there's some sort of like conspiracy theory, considering the fact that the transfer window opens in 5 days. And there's been rumors that the board are not going to make any big signings or any signings at all potentially because we're halfway to the 40-point goal. Which, first of all, that in itself is an utter disgrace. I don't even want to talk about that because we can spend a whole show on that.
And it's no surprise to anyone anyway. Yeah. So,
but I wonder if matches like the last 2 matches were a way for David Moyes to almost signal to the board, I need additional players. I don't have the depth to take this all the way.
I would hope not. I mean, if you're sacrificing points on the board to make some kind of a point to the board, I would be shocked at that, to be honest. I don't think he has to do that. I think he can literally just sit down and talk to them, just tell them.
Well, it seems like they don't listen.
Have they ever? I mean, but here's the thing, okay? Let's say we don't really have anything by way of money in January. No surprise to anybody. I'm sure that's the case, that we're not going to be spending. But you can still do some decent business. So, for example, we could make 2 signings, let's say, that could really, really improve things. Number one, let's say we go to Man City and do a deal with them for Zinchenko. Right? He can play left back. He can play left wing back. He immediately goes into the first 11 and he improves our team. And he can play in both formations, in a flat back 4 or with a wing back system. He is better than Ben Johnson there. He's better than Cresswell there. He's better than Masuaku in those 2 positions. Zinchenko would immediately improve us down the left-hand side. He's a really good player. So we could do a loan to buy deal with Man City. I think no problem. So that would be a really good signing. Josh King, look, is the other elephant in the room. Josh King would do fine for now as a backup, say, for Antonio. So Antonio's almost back fit again. So he'll be ready to go very shortly. If King was there on the bench, if Antonio does go down, or if he needs a rest, or if he wants to, take him off after 70 minutes because he's blowing a bit, Josh King is the kind of player that can go in and really do a job. And I think do a much better job, frankly, than Haller. He's much more like the kind of forward we need. He's got some pace, he's got good feet, and he can finish. Josh King has a lot of ability. I know people forget because he's having a hard time at Bournemouth and they're in the Championship, so he's kind of almost a forgotten man as such. But he's not playing. The reason he's not playing for Bournemouth has nothing to do with his ability. He's got loads of ability. He's just fallen out with them at Bournemouth, and the manager wants to play someone who actually wants to be there and will be there for the season. So if we were to get Zinchenko, yeah, I know Foe, and I'd be absolutely fine with that, and I think Moyes would as well.
Yeah.
So Josh King is a player who can do a really good job for us if Antonio's not available. So I'd be absolutely fine with Josh King because it's better than the kicking the balls, right? So at least he's somebody who's in and who can affect the game for us and who will actually work in our system. So if we were to do that in January, I think that would improve us.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I don't know if there's also this Sema guy that's been linked to us with Slavia Prague players, shock horror.
We just need to buy them outright at this point.
Yeah. No, I don't know anything about him. Not surprisingly, I don't know much about the Czech league.
It seems like I have seen a report that we're trying to move quickly on him solely because other big clubs are starting to sniff around, like United and them. So we already have that relationship, that rapport built up.
Yeah. So I'm sure Slavia would be happy to do a deal with us again for loan him now and pay for him in the summer. Let's say we did it with Souček. And obviously the Kofal deal went through smoothly, so it's a club we actually happen to have a good relationship with. Not many of them, but Slavia Prague is one. So even Sima, even though I haven't seen him, he does have a good reputation, and a lot of people are kind of excited about him. So if he was to come in, I'm sure that's a deal we could do.
Yeah, so it seems like we're looking at 3 different players that have
loan Haller to Slavia for the rest of the season.
There you go. But it looks like we're kind of linked with 3 current or former Slavia Prague players. Zima or Sima rather, the striker, their goalkeeper, and a defensive player. I don't know his name off the top of my head. He used to play for Slavia Prague. He now plays for, I believe, Zenit in Moscow or in Russia. So we're basically linked with 3 Czech players.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
We're just going to be the Czech international team.
Yeah, it just it seems Souček is our chief scout now, so not surprisingly, we're going to be getting some Slavia Prague players in. So look, if the guy's good, he's good. Let's be honest, the 2 we've done so far have been huge hits.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with it. It is kind of funny that no one ever thought to look at these 2 players. West Ham are like, we'll get these guys in on the cheap, and they're just sensational. Like,
yeah, if you want to talk value for money, I mean that's how you want to sign players. That's business, right? That's what you want to do always. Buy low, sell high.
Yeah. But listen, we're kind of running over time here a little bit. Now I have, after this one, I have to go worry about my Steelers. So, the fun times.
It's all right for you. You guys are going to the playoffs and probably as division champs, but we've got our own problems in the Broncos right now, and more issues today. Bradley Chubb's gone. Yeah, we're just dropping players like flies. So we've got
wait, Chubb is gone. I haven't seen that. I like.
Yeah, he's out, and Lindsay's gone for the season.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's better to rest him anyway. But
he as well now, yeah.
Oh, don't make me ban you, foe. Don't make me ban you. I don't want to.
I knew that was coming. I absolutely knew it was coming.
I'm not happy with this guy right
That'd be
now.
a good game. I might watch that one actually.
I'm gonna be stressing. But yeah. Any closing comments?
Not really. I think we've pretty much covered everything. But I suppose I'm really pissed off with this one, and I just hope Moyes goes much more positive against Southampton and Everton. I'd much rather lose a game with attacking players on the field trying to go and win the thing. Because doing what we did today against Brighton will absolutely lose us both those games. So Moyes needs to get his finger out of his arse. Someone said grow a pair.
I think everyone said that in the comments.
Yeah, so I want to see a much more positive team.
You're on thin ice.
He's gonna get blocked.
He's on thin ice. But yeah, but listen, barring anything, we'll be back here on Tuesday and then hopefully Friday as well. I want to thank everyone for joining us in the chat today. A little bit of a longer one. I want to thank you as always, Tommy, for joining us, or for joining me rather. And until next time, Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you